But that's exactly what Meghan Markle has done here. It is a disgusting new low.
It usually begins with small comments that seem too soft to matter.
Pseudo-royal court over there in Montecito.
That is exactly how the stories from Montecito started.
This might be the smallest palace I've ever been in.
An apartment.
For a long time, people thought the things said about Harry and Meghan's home were just gossip floating around online. A small argument about a diffuser here, a staff member upset there, a strange rule that didn't make sense. Nothing big enough to take seriously. But then the tone changed.
So I went online to see what was new with Uncle Harry and Auntie Meghan, and I couldn't find a thing. I would have thought she'd have at least popped up in a tampon commercial by now.
The quiet talk became sharper. Former workers began talking to each other in private. They compared what they had seen, and suddenly all the little stories that once felt random started matching up in surprising ways. And when they lined up, the picture they formed was far more dramatic than anyone expected. People who once cooked for the couple, arranged flowers, drove their cars, ironed their clothes, or planned their daily schedules now describe a home very different from the perfect, calm image the public sees. Instead of a peaceful mansion full of sunshine and comfort, they say it often felt like a stage where everything had to look perfect. Some even say the house operated more like a small royal court, with silent expectations, strict routines, and emotional pressure hidden behind a wellness image. According to these workers, things didn't become intense right away. It started slowly.
Harry and Meghan are their own worst enemies every single time.
Trying to make ourselves into a brand just turned us into products. We don't need to be a brand, do we?
They have no way to do anything else but to flaunt their titles around because they don't have anything else to offer.
We want privacy! We want privacy!
We have to get jobs. I have to start auditioning again.
You were on the very famous show Suits. More popular in the States than even Friends, you told us.
Yeah.
At first, there were small requests. Adjust the lights, keep a hallway more quiet, avoid certain colors on stressful days. But these small requests grew over time. Soon, there were unspoken rules that everyone had to follow, even though nobody ever wrote them down. Some staff members say the atmosphere began to feel strangely similar to the strict palace environment. Harry and Meghan said they wanted to escape. The reason behind this shift is still debated. Some insiders believe the couple never meant for things to get so strict. They say Harry and Meghan faced a huge amount of pressure to maintain their public image. Over time, that pressure made them try to control everything in their environment, sometimes without even noticing it. Others think the couple wanted to make everything perfect for cameras, interviews, and public appearances. No matter the reason, the workers say the result was the same: a home with tension, tight schedules, and rules that changed without warning. One former event planner said the home felt like walking into a movie scene someone else was directing, where even the smell in a room or the way you said hello had to fit the mood Meghan wanted that day.
Look, I love you and I'm willing to do whatever I need to do in order to be with you, Meghan.
It's important we do this ourselves, Harry, and not live off your family.
I agree. We'll just have to find a way to make £50 billion on our own.
Fuck.
Another worker said things could change fast. One morning might be relaxed and friendly. By afternoon, the mood could shift suddenly, leaving everyone stressed without knowing why. What shocked people most was not one big incident, but how many workers described the same experiences. People who never met each other all told similar stories. As more employees spoke up, the perfect Montecito story began to look less like a fairy tale and more like something carefully held together behind the scenes. People still argue about what pushed former staff members to speak out now, but many of them point to one big change inside the home. It happened when the couple's major media deals started slipping. First, the Spotify partnership ended. Then people began talking about Netflix lowering budgets. According to staff who were there, the mood inside the house shifted almost immediately. The mansion, which used to feel confident and full of plans, suddenly felt tense. Workers who once feared strict contracts started to realize the situation might be different now. The feeling that the couple was untouchable began to fade. And with that, some employees finally felt safe enough or frustrated enough to tell their stories.
It's so funny you keep saying Meghan Markle, you know it's Sussex.
If it's truly what we want, then we really can get away from it all. No more magazines and Netflix shows. We really can live a normal life. Yes, I'm sure you agree, darling.
A wellness consultant who used to work closely with the family explained it simply. She said, when everything feels rich and endless, people stay quiet. But when money feels tight, people start talking. She said small things suddenly mattered much more than before: the price of candles, the cost of groceries, the number of flowers ordered for an event, even the cost of uniforms. Every detail felt like it came with pressure. And that pressure spread throughout the home, making everyone anxious. There were also rumors that managers were now checking invoices more carefully and questioning deliveries more often. No one said anything illegal was happening, but staff say the atmosphere felt like everyone was preparing for a storm. A driver said he noticed that private cars were used less, replaced by cheaper ride apps. A florist said she was told to redo centerpieces because the original choice was too expensive for a simple lunch. A chef said he was asked to cook meals that looked fancy on camera but didn't cost fancy behind the scenes. These changes might sound small to outsiders, but to the people working inside the home, they represented something deeper. Workers say it showed a struggle between trying to keep the couple's image luxurious and trying to quietly deal with their real budget limits.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have created a new cosplay royal court over there in Montecito.
You've lived a life with the royal family, you've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, When?
For a house built on wellness themes, soft lighting, elegant foods, calming scents, and perfect style, even one moment of financial stress felt like everything could crack. But it wasn't only about money. Several workers say the emotional tone of the house changed too. They describe days where the mood shifted wildly depending on headlines, public criticism, or even a small detail out of place right before a filming session. A nanny said she learned to read the day's mood by the scent used in the diffusers. If it smelled like lavender or something soft, it usually meant the household wanted calm. But if she smelled citrus or something sharp, she took it as a sign that things might get stressful. The most surprising part wasn't the rules or the mood swings, it was the feeling of isolation many workers described. One housekeeper said the mansion began to feel like a world that was closed off. She said the couple seemed trapped inside the image they were constantly trying to present. It didn't feel like a home anymore, she said. It felt like a stage, and we were keeping the stage lights on. As staff talked more in private group chats, they realized something important. None of them were alone. Others felt the same stress, the same confusion, the same pressure, and that moment of shared understanding opened the door to everything that followed.
How was your audition?
The show was canceled by the time I got there.
Well, we don't need you to work anyway because I'm able to find this.
What happened to your ring?
I gave it to the working people.
We're the working people.
Once former staff members started sharing their experiences with each other, something surprising happened. Details that once sounded strange or too specific began showing up again and again in their stories. Not perfectly the same, but close enough to notice a pattern. Many of them talked about what they now call silent signals. These were small, quiet clues that told workers what kind of day it was going to be inside the mansion. None of these signals were written down, and no one announced them, but people picked up on them over time. One detail that came up often was the lighting in certain hallways. Several ex-workers said the lights seemed to signal when it was safe to enter different areas. A warm, soft light meant everything was normal. A brighter or cooler tone meant they should be ready for sudden changes. A deep tone, which they say didn't happen often, meant they should stay away because the couple needed privacy or space. Some workers believe these lights were just part of the home's design. Others think they became an unspoken system the staff used to avoid problems. Scents were another repeated theme. Workers say the diffusers around the house were changed often, depending on what kind of mood Meghan wanted for the day. If the couple had filming planned, the scents needed to match the energy of the scene.
And Harry himself is over here, not really with anything to do. So their, I guess, reaction to this sort of meandering that they've done for the past 5 years without real purpose except for give me money because I need money is to set up a cosplay royal court.
One assistant said she once woke up to a message at sunrise telling her to replace every diffuser before guests arrived. Another worker said she learned a whole list of scent rules because using the wrong aroma at the wrong time could lead to the room being reset all over again. To outsiders, these little things might seem unimportant, but to the staff, they were constant tests. A florist said she remade a flower arrangement 3 times because the feel of it didn't match the tone of the day. A catering worker said she could sense upcoming criticism by the music volume. If the music grew quieter, she prepared for something to change. A driver said he avoided certain hallways depending on the lighting, even if it meant taking longer routes. He admitted it might have been superstition, but said it made his job easier. Whether these signals were real rules or just ways the staff learned to cope, the outcome was the same. People worked in a state of constant tension. Former employees describe it as living inside someone else's mood, where a small mistake could feel huge and make the whole day difficult. Some say this is normal for any high-profile celebrity home, where every detail matters.
Yes, that's right, friend. You see, my wife and I
I was totally like, you should write a book because your family like stupid, and then so are like journalists.
Others believe the pressure went far beyond normal expectations. What shocked many people reading the leaks was not the alleged rules, but the emotional environment behind them. A gardener said he walked into a room and felt the temperature drop, not in the air, but in the mood. He said it felt like stepping onto a film set right after a sudden pause. Another worker said she always felt like she was interrupting even when she was doing exactly what she was supposed to do. Even with all this stress, many former staff members made it clear they didn't dislike the couple personally. They said they still respected their charity work and public goals. What wore them down was the unpredictable nature of the environment. They said every day felt like learning a new set of rules. As more people opened up, the story grew larger. What once looked like small complaints suddenly looked like a pattern that was hard to ignore. As more stories came out, another pattern started to appear. Former staff members began talking about what they called escalation moments. These were not huge fights or dramatic scenes. Instead, they were small things that suddenly turned the whole mood of the house tense. Workers say these moments often started with something tiny. A glass placed slightly wrong, a reminder set at the wrong time, a light adjusted in a way someone didn't like. No one was screaming or throwing things, but the whole atmosphere tightened so fast that people felt it in their bodies, almost like the air changed. One assistant shared a moment she still remembers clearly. Meghan was in the middle of a virtual meeting, calm and smiling on camera. A staff member quietly stepped in to fix something behind the computer. It was a normal task. But when the call ended, Meghan closed her laptop and spoke softly to the worker. The assistant said the tone was not loud, but sharp enough that the worker immediately packed their things and left within minutes. The assistant didn't know if the worker quit or was told to go, but it shook the whole team for days. Another former worker described a night after a TV appearance. The outfits worn earlier that day were suddenly called not on brand, and the staff had to redo the entire closet before morning. They spent hours steaming clothes, rearranging racks, making sure colors matched, and preparing new options. All of this while also handling other tasks like preparing early breakfast items and setting up the meditation room. The worker said it wasn't the work that was hard, it was the feeling that the rules changed halfway through the day. Stories like these didn't accuse the couple of being cruel. Instead, they showed a pattern of sudden mood changes that left staff unsure of what to expect. Even Harry played a part in this unpredictability. Workers said he could be friendly and relaxed one day, walking around barefoot and making jokes. But the next morning, a small thing, like a mug in the wrong place, could make the whole house feel tense. Staff said it often felt like outside pressure or headlines affected the couple's moods more than anything inside the house. Former staff say the hardest part was never knowing what version of the home they were walking into. Some days were warm and filled with music. Other days were so quiet that the house felt like a museum. To deal with it, workers created their own codes. They paid attention to little things like music, scents in the hallway, or even how fast people were walking. Lavender and soft music usually meant it was safe. Citrus scents or total silence meant the day could be rough. Many workers say the pressure came from the environment being built for cameras. Photos, interviews, filming sessions, everything had to look perfect. Even tiny details mattered because they could end up in a video or on social media. Staff said they often felt like background characters in a show that never stopped. When these stories reached the public, the most surprising part wasn't the details. It was how many people described the same feelings: stress, caution, unpredictability, and sudden changes in mood. Whether these stories are exact truth or exaggerated, they created a picture that made many people question how peaceful the Montecito home really was. As more former staff members stepped forward with their stories, quietly, carefully, and often anonymously, the public began paying attention in a new way. People weren't focused on danger or wrongdoing, instead they were noticing something different. A growing gap between the calm, caring image Harry and Meghan share with the world and the stressful experience described by people who worked closest to them. That difference made the story impossible to ignore. People in the media industry say the couple's team entered what one insider called permanent crisis mode. They prepared statements, planned positive posts, and organized charity announcements, but every time they were ready to release something, a new staff story appeared online, and all their plans had to be stopped. Public relations experts say this happens with many celebrities, but in this case, the number of leaks made it feel like trying to walk on shifting sand. Each time the couple tried to take control of the story, something new knocked them off balance. Former communication workers who handled the couple's public image said this made planning almost impossible. They talked about charity visits that were delayed, community events that were paused, and even simple wellness posts that never saw the light of day. One former team member said the real fear wasn't negative comments. It was losing control of the entire story. "We were always waiting for the next shake," she said. "It felt like planning outdoor events in the middle of earthquake. Season." Even groups connected to the couple felt the tension. A children's charity that once proudly featured Meghan and Harry reportedly paused a holiday campaign. They were worried that unrelated drama might drown out their message. A wellness magazine that had shown interest in Meghan paused a planned photo shoot when editors realized the shoot would highlight the exact lifestyle details former staff were talking about. They worried the photos might receive unwanted criticism instead of praise. Even the couple's neighbors in Montecito noticed changes. People living nearby reported more drones, more reporters parked outside, and more staff coming and going. One longtime resident said in a private community group, "The house looks calm from the outside, but something feels like it's shaking inside." As all this happened, people started asking a big question. Is this the beginning of a long, difficult chapter for the couple, or just another wave they'll eventually get past? Some insiders believe the couple will survive the drama by staying quiet and slowly rebuilding their image. Others think the difference between what they preach, kindness, peace, wellness, and the stories staff tell about stress and sudden rule changes may be hard to ignore. The former staff members, however, say their goal wasn't revenge. Many said they actually respected the couple's charity work. They spoke up because the emotional pressure became too much. Several described walking out of the house on their last day and feeling a sudden sense of relief they didn't expect. Only then did they realize how tense they had been for so long. Now that many voices are telling similar stories about long days, shifting rules, and emotional ups and downs, the picture has grown larger. It is no longer about one worker with a complaint. It is about the idea that a brand built on calm and healing may have been struggling behind the scenes. Whether Harry and Meghan choose to speak out, stay silent, or try to rebuild slowly, no one knows. But one thing feels clear. The Montecito dream home may not be the simple fairy tale the public once imagined. Perhaps the cracks were always there, or perhaps the pressure made them grow. Either way, the world is watching to see what happens next because this story does not feel finished. And for the first time, people aren't watching a glossy documentary, they are watching something unfold in real time.